Hello, this is Matthew Ferris, once again with Ferris Benefit Group. I am the founder and also an insurance broker. So this is going to be another video in the series of many videos with Ferris Benefit Group. This time we're going to be talking about life insurance. So why is life insurance such a good idea? Well, really and truly, I don't think it takes much effort to get people thinking about this, but life is uncertain. If it hasn't happened to you yet, you probably know somebody you're close to, a family member, that their life was ended too soon, either by a condition that popped out of nowhere or something that they were born with and developed into something that was fatal over the years, or just accidents, right? So we know that life is uncertain and we might not have as much time as we think. So knowing that, we have to ask ourselves the question is that who depends on you? Are there people in your life, whether it be your family, maybe people you're looking after, kids, maybe sometime extended family, that they depend on you to be the breadwinner? Because really, life insurance is nothing but an act of love. You're thinking about yourself after you're gone, and how are the people that I love are going to be able to continue with their life, to be able to take care of the things like, first of all, your burial cost. Some people want to be cremated, some people want to be buried, but who's going to pay for that? How about bills? Unfortunately, we all know that whether somebody in your life is sick or you're sick, these bills don't stop coming. The bill keeps on coming in. Debt. You want somebody in your life that you love to now have to be responsible for the debt that you might owe. And then the next one is that, how about your family, or the ones that we talked about that depend on you? How are they going to keep on eating, paying the bills, living in the house, maybe living in an apartment, whatever their setup is? How are they going to keep on going when you're no longer there? And then the last thing is that if all this stuff is taken care of, how about leaving something behind for the next generation? Whether it be your kids or your nieces or nephew, whoever, it might be organization, you can leave something behind that will help people after you're gone. And this is a sensitive topic because I've seen this so many times. Every time I see it, like literally my heart just becomes real hurt and sad, is that GoFundMe is not a substitute for life insurance. Selling food plates is not a substitute for life insurance. And the reason why I say this is because I've quoted many people in their 20s, mid-20s, late 20s, 30s, all the way up to 40, and life insurance can be very inexpensive, even people that are older. I've quoted people in their 50s and 60s as well, depending on how much money you need. If you're a young person, I've written policies up to $1 million that literally I know that myself and other people have DoorDash or Uber Eats meal that costs more than that, right? And even if you're an older person, there are things like final expense, and we'll talk about that in another video, that's relatively very inexpensive, that will at least take care of the burial costs, where the people that you love don't have to be hustling out there, maybe selling food plates or going online asking for money. They're already set. And that's really because your family's gonna go through a mourning process. Those who love you are gonna go through a mourning process. You don't want money to be part of that equation and the things they're thinking about it when they're trying to mourn you. And the next thing that we look at is that, once again, try to get it while you're younger. There's a lot of people out there that are in their 20s, 30s. They think they're Superman, Superwoman, that nothing can happen to them. We talked about this earlier. Life is uncertain. We don't know. And we always want to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So in a situation, why not take an extra, $10, $20, $30, $40 to get a life insurance policy that is gonna protect you just in case, so you have that peace of mind. Now, another thing we ask is that, so exactly how much life insurance do you need for the amount of the death benefit, and how long would you need it for? Well, I'll use an example. There's a lady I was working with. She was thinking about the house that she wanted to make sure that it's paid off in case something happens to her, right? So she was gonna retire in another 20 years, and the house was worth, let's just say, $600,000. So in that case, I was able to offer her a term 20 policy, a life insurance policy that would last 20 years. And trust, we're gonna get into term insurance and how that works in the next video. But I was able to offer her that term life insurance policy for 20 years for $600,000. And what that means is that, God forbid something does happen to her before that house is paid off, then whoever the beneficiary is can use that money to then pay off the house, so the house stays in the family. So that's just one example. So to kind of go back to what this actually means is that you want to look at anything particular that you might want to pay off. You want to look at the people that are dependent on you. You might have kids. You got to ask yourself, how long are my children going to be dependent on me? Hopefully not for too long, right? But they might be well into their 20s because they're going to school. Or do you have grandchildren that are dependent on you, right? And then also you want to look at how much money do you need. So as well, we talked about that, how the rule is about 10 years of your income, 10 years of your salary. But it could be a situation that, just like the house, is for a specific amount. So this is what the consultation is all about. So at Vist Benefit Group, we know that everybody's situation is different. We don't treat it cookie cutter. We have this conversation with you, talk about what your goals are, what you're trying to do, so we can really recommend not only the right type of life insurance, but the right length and the amounts just for you as well. So, and the next point I wanted to cover is that a lot of people think that I have life insurance through my job, through my employer, I'm good. And I do want to tell this story just because it really shows why this is not the case, why you're not good. So having a life insurance policy and your job is good, you don't want to turn it down. But I heard a couple examples of how people maybe left their employment or they got terminated, laid off on their job, and then during the time while they were trying to start a business or find another job, they end up dying, unfortunately, and their families were left with nothing. So it's always good to have a life insurance policy that you're buying through yourself, right? Or through an independent source outside of your job. Because that way, if something happens, you're not worried about that policy being lapsed or terminated. As long as you're making your payment, you should be good. And the next video we're going to talk about, like I said, is term insurance, because term insurance is a good and an inexpensive way to make sure that your life insurance needs are come paid for, so that if something happens to you, you and your family are protected.